Some of you have been working on some challenges in JavaScript, and some of you have asked, how is it possible that I can remember all of this code to get my mastery card? And the answer is, you don't memorize it. That's right, that's the secret. You do not memorize this code in order to get your mastery card. What you should be doing is trying to understand it really, really thoroughly so that you can actually recreate it the way a programmer would write it in real life, the way a real programmer would actually write this code for the first time. So I thought I would give you a demonstration. So this code right here makes this little website and just has the words click me, and when I click it, it says hi. And then when I press OK, it says there. So like, hi there. Now, so let's pretend I'm working on my mastery card and I don't have any of this. So I'll delete it. And let me refresh the page and show you I have nothing. It's blank. So this is what I would do. So I have been programming in HTML for a very long time, and so I know that the first things that I should do are create the right tags. And I know every HTML page starts and ends with HTML tags. And then inside of that, I know that every HTML page has a head, and every HTML page has a body. So I'm not remembering this from the code that I just looked at. I know it because I've been programming in HTML for a long time, and because I know that this is the structure of an HTML JavaScript program. So now I have the basic structure in place. The question is, how do I make it do what I want? Well, I break it down a piece at a time. I know that I want it to say click me right here, and I know I want it to say it kind of big and dark, which is called a header. And I know a header uses the h1 tags. That gives me a big header. And I know that I want the header to say click me. Okay, so this is, I think, closer to what I want, but what I do is, when I'm writing code, is I test all the time. And the way I test is to see what this code does. Okay, so we're getting closer because this certainly looks like what we had before. It looks like what we're working towards. Of course, when I click it, nothing happens, so it's still not quite what we want, but it's closer. So what do I do now? Well, now I want it to, since I have it looking the right way, I want it to function the right way as well. I want it to do the right thing. And I know that I want it to do something when I click it, so I'm going to add an onClick attribute to the h1 tag, and I'm going to have that call a function. Now I don't remember what the function was called in the original code, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to get all the details of the code right as long as your code does the right thing. So I'm just going to call this my function. That wasn't what it was called before. You can rewind and look. I can't remember what the function was called, and that's okay. I'm just going to make up a new one. So when I click this, it's going to call my function. So I'm actually going to test this right now. Now, nothing happens, right, when I click it. In fact, if you open up if you open up the console, what you'll probably find is it's generating errors when I try to click it here. Hold on one second. There we go. So when I click, it tells me uncaught reference exception. Sorry, uncaught reference error. My function is not defined. Every time I click this, it's making a new error. And that's a good thing for me right now, because it kind of tells me what I need to do next. Just in case I had forgotten, I know that when I'm clicking on the h1 tag, it's going to call my function, but I haven't told the computer what my function is yet. That's some code that I need to write. So of course it's going to throw an error right now, and that's what I expect. So I just tested it to see if it's doing what I expect, and I do that all the time. So now I need to define my function. And I happen to remember that that the script tags were here. But you know what? It doesn't even matter. I know because I have been programming in HTML for a long time that all I need is script tags somewhere. I could just as easily put them in the header. I could put them here. You know, I could even put them outside the body, although you're not really supposed to do that. The point is, I just need some script tags somewhere so that I can define the function that I want. And I know that I define a function by saying function and then giving it a name, and I need it to be called my function because that's the one that's going to get called. So I'm going to call it my function. And again, you'll notice that what the code I'm writing right now is not exactly the same as the code I started with, and that's perfectly fine because I guarantee it's going to do the exact same thing. So now that I've written my function, I can come over here and test, and I think we'll see something different. So watch down here, that's where the errors were popping up before. Now I click it and there are no errors. It still doesn't do what I want because I don't see the boxes that say hi and the box that says there. But I'm not getting any errors right now, and that's good. That's what I expect because when I click it, it calls my function, which means it starts to execute lines of code that are inside of my function, lines of code that are here. Now there aren't any lines of code here, so nothing happens. But it's not giving me an error because at least it knows what function to be calling. So let me now say alert hi, because I know that's the first thing I want it to do. And guess what? I'm going to test it right away just to see if that works. I click and it says hi. Excellent. But I want it to say hi and then there. So now I'm going to add another line, alert there. And I'm going to click it, refresh it, and test it one more time. It says hi, and it says there. And now I'm done. This is exactly what I wanted it to do. It's not exactly the same as before. If it were the same as before, I guess the script tags would have been down here, and the function name would be different. But it's okay if there are minor differences in your code, as long as your code does exactly the same thing. That will get you your mastery card.